ब्रेक के बाद दोबारा हाजिर है और मेरे साथ चीन के कायम मुकाम सफ़ीर ली जिनजाओ है, जिसके साथ हम सी पैक पे और कुछ और मौज़ूआत पर भी गुफ्तगू जारी रखेंगे. सो मिस्टर ली जिन, there were reports in the Pakistani media, in the foreign media, but also published in Pakistani media, that China had been in contact with the Baloch insurgents, militants, just for the security of CPEC. So, do you think those reports were correct or not?
Well, that's totally groundless speculation. We condemn this terrorist attack in Karachi against our consulate general there, and just a few days ago that we heard that Aslam Baluch was killed in Afghanistan. This is a very good development. I think this is now the two policemen who sacrificed their lives in defending the security of the Chinese consulate. They can now enjoy peace in heaven. I think for Chinese government, we are very clear that we have no contact with these militants at all.
Okay, so let's go back to the question on CPEC. What are the new phase of cooperation under CPEC? Because there was also recently a meeting in JCC committee meeting in Beijing. So what are the new phase now?
Yes, recently we had the 8th Joint Cooperation Committee, we call it the JCC in Beijing. This is the most important mechanism advancing, the CPEC. So during this JCC, we have signed quite a number of agreements, and also we have quite a number of consensus. Number one, we have agreed that CPEC has entered a new phase of broadening and extension. So in the past 5 years, basically we focused on solving two bottlenecks faced by the economic development of Pakistan. One is this lack of infrastructure. Another one is this load shedding. Okay. After these 5 years, these two issues have been almost solved. So now we are trying to change the gear. Okay. To shift the focus to two areas. Number one is this industrial cooperation. In the past 5 years, we identified 9 special economic zones. Basically, there are 2 SEZs with the federal government, and there are 7 SEZs with this different provinces and regions in Pakistan. Okay. So 1 for each. So we have completed the feasibility study of this SEZs, and now the Chinese company is discussing with their Pakistani counterparts, how to inaugurate, these SEZs one by one. The first one will be in the KP Rashakai, near Nashara. They have already signed this joint venture agreement. Okay. They are now discussing about this concessions agreement. After this, they can do the inauguration. I think it will be very soon. By the new year, I think they can do the inauguration.
Okay, if you could explain to the people what would be in the this ECZs, this special economic zones. Can you just
can I just finish this about this JCC, and then I'll come back to this SEZ. Okay. For this JCC, this first priority, in the next 5 years, first will be this industrial cooperation. Okay. And for this ICZs, it will be a platform for attracting investment into Pakistan.
Okay.
This SEZ is not only for Pakistan, it's also for the Chinese, Japanese, American companies, for everyone.
Okay.
So if there is a policy, preferential policies, it's open for everyone.
Everyone can come there.
Yeah. So this is number one. The number two priority is this social sector development. So we have established a joint working group on this sector, and for this time we have agreed on 6 areas. We have devised 6 action plans. For example, poverty alleviation, which is the priority of the new government, and we will try to identify villages living under poverty line, so that we can select some of them to help them develop some industries, to try to make them a model village.
Okay.
So this is a poverty alleviation. We can also try to help them with this vocational training. In Pakistan, many Chinese companies, when they come to Pakistan, they found that it is very difficult to find the skilled workers. So this for China, we have more expertise. So we will try to bridge the vocational training institutes in Pakistan and also those in China, so that they can help Pakistan to train more skilled workers, engineers in this respect. Also, we have the action plan to, for example, to provide better education to Pakistan. For example, we can provide more scholarship to the Pakistani students. Now we have about 22,000 Pakistani students studying in China.
And how many scholarships every year? Because
every year, Pakistan, I think you have the lion's share. I know in 2016 it is 5,000.
5,000.
5,000. It means that among 22,000 students studying in China, 5,000 of them, they are studying there on Chinese scholarships. Last year I heard this number has been raised to 7,000.
To 7,000.
And this is the largest number among all the countries. So it shows
how the Pakistani students are.
They are very brilliant, very good, terrific.
So they are happy.
And yes,
if you allow me, I can go.
So this, so this is the two, priorities of CPAC, where we will be working on.
Okay.
So in the past, mainly it focused on big projects. In the next 5 years, we will break down into those small projects. But we will be focusing on more on the social sector. We will focusing more on the people's well-being project.
Okay.
We will focus more on provinces like Balochistan, like southern Punjab, like the backward areas of KP or Sindh.
Okay.
So the focus will be changing.
Okay.
And we are changing the gear.
Okay. So when this new government this came into, so there were some statements from from the advisor. My question is that do you believe that now things are normal with this new government, especially about CPAC?
Yeah, I believe this government is a new government, and we understand that in the beginning, they are trying to, we should give them some time, to learn about, this, what happened in the past, what are the projects for the next step. I think that's why, we from China, our state councillor and foreign minister, Mr. Wang Yi, visited Pakistan, just at the beginning of, this government. So this is a good opportunity for, China and Pakistan the new government of Pakistan to compare notes. So where we are, So I'm very glad that because of this visit, we have been able to put the bilateral relations on the right track.
Okay.
So there is a seamless transition between the last government to this government. As you can see, as I mentioned, China-Pakistan relationship is a across the board national consensus.
Yes.
So it is on the ground, at the foreign ministers level, we have compared notes. We almost agreed on everything.
So now things are normal on CPEC.
Yeah, now it's okay, and especially after the visit of Prime Minister
yes.
Imran Khan to China, the visit was very much fruitful, and we have very good meetings between the two leaders. He met our president. He had talks with our prime minister. He also met our speaker and also the vice president. So it is the meetings are very good. So these meetings, these talks have set the direction in the next 5 years.
Okay.
So yes.
And can we expect some high-level visits from China after Prime Minister visit to China?
Yes, we usually have this, good tradition of, exchange of visits at highest level, because this is the end of the year, and we are expecting next year. Next year, it will be, I think, will be a very good year for our bilateral relations. There is in April. China will be hosting this second Belt and Road Summit for international cooperation. So we will be inviting, Pakistani leaders to attend this summit because the CPEC, is a major pilot project under BRI. So it is only natural that Pakistan should be represented, at this summit. And later in the year, we will have this second China International Import Expo. So again, we hope that Pakistan can, Pakistan leaders can attend that.
So you are talking about the import and export. So there are also concern in Pakistan that only China is benefiting all these things. So do you think that Pakistani export can also improve or increase to China from Pakistan?
Yes, I think there is some imbalance, of the trade between China and Pakistan. This is, I think, is a structural problem, because nowadays, China is becoming the world factory, and all those assembly lines are going to China. So China is not having this trade imbalance only with Pakistan, with India, with the United States, with many countries. We have this problem. For Pakistan, I think we are not trying to gain more benefits from Pakistan. That's why we are trying under CPEC we are trying to help Pakistan to enhance this industrial capacity. In the past 5 years, we focused on this road and power plants. Why? Because without good road, without electricity, how can you build a factory? How can you enhance this industrial protection? But now it is the time. So that's why China would like to help Pakistan to establish more factories here, to help you to improve your industries, to set up joint ventures here in Pakistan. so that Pakistan may have more products
and export to China.
To export to China, we welcome you.
Okay.
I mentioned to this import expo. In many countries in the world, they only organize export expos. This is the first time that China, not any other country, for the first time that a country is organizing at such a scale to invite all these countries to come to China to export your products to China. So
Now,
we also welcome Pakistan's export.
Okay. एक वक्फा लेते हैं, दोबारा हाजिर होंगे. ब्रेक के बाद दोबारा हाजिर है और मेरे साथ चीन के कायम मुकाम सफ़ीर ली जिनजाओ है. The main challenge still remains because the Taliban are unwilling to talk to the Afghan government. And we hear from China, from Pakistan, from Russia, from every country in the region that they support Afghan-owned and Afghan-led process. So how could China, other regional stakeholders can convince Taliban to sit with own people?
I think this is a good question, and because as we call it, is an Afghan-led, Afghan-owned process. So the Afghan government and the Taliban, of course, need to sit together. But the other countries, they need to also play positive roles in this. So the Americans, because they have been in Afghanistan for 17 years. So if they are leaving the country, they should try to leave also in a gradual, in a responsible way, so that after their withdrawal, they can try to help Afghanistan to restore peace and security. For Pakistan, for China, we will also try our best because Afghanistan is our close neighbor. The Americans may leave.
Yes, but the people will be here.
The Pakistan and China will be here, and if Afghanistan, as you mentioned, if if a civil war broke out after the U.S. withdrawal, the first countries will be affected. Will be Pakistan, will be China, will be the immediate neighbors. Yeah. So we have to sit together, with the parties concerned, so that we'll have, we will start a peace process. For Chinese, in the past 40 years, we enjoyed almost a double-digit economic growth. But in Afghanistan, they have been, occupied by Soviet Union. Okay. Then there was a civil war, and then there were, the U.S. After the 9/11s, they again, there was endless, conflict in Afghanistan. So we are very much sympathetic with the Afghan people.
Do you think that Eastern Turkestan Islamic movement is still a threat to China, and the threat is emanating from this region, from the border region, or no?
Of course, this ETIM is a UN Security Council recognized terrorist organization. So they are still in Afghanistan. They are still posing a threat to the national security of Xinjiang, of China. We are very much, watchful for their activities, and this is a terrorist organization, and they they want is to establish a separate state, to separate Xinjiang out of China. And this is totally unacceptable to China. So we will work with Afghan government, to try to, eliminate, this group from Afghanistan.
Okay. If you allow me, because there are lots of reports in the Pakistani media, especially coming from the Western media, but Pakistani media also publish it. So if you can reply that there are mistreatment of Muslims and they are sent to camps and they are deprived of, the children are deprived from their parents. So what is the reality? Is this true or not?
This is a totally groundless report. This is basically Western propaganda. They have double standards applied by this Western media. The truth is, in the past in Xinjiang, we used to suffer from this terrorist attacks, instigated by the ATIM. And in the past 2 years, there is almost zero terrorist attacks. So, the Chinese government, especially, the local government in Xinjiang, they are taking some measures to try to control those terrorist activities in Xinjiang. Now, if in other parts of the world, if you can maintain peace, you call it maintain peace. In Xinjiang, we are taking measures to control, to curtail these terrorist activities. Then it is, they are call this issue as a human rights. This is a totally double standard and Western propaganda. There is, in China, we treat Muslims equally, and we protect, the freedom of religion. In Xinjiang, you can go yourself to have a look. We can invite you to Xinjiang, to Urumqi, to have a look yourself. Xinjiang is open, to the outside world, and we can invite you to Urumqi to have a look yourself.
I have been there, but so just briefly, because I was told that the time is already finished, because there are a lot of reports in Pakistani media that those Pakistanis who have marriages with the Muslim and Chinese women, and they are arrested or detained by the Chinese authorities. What is the reality in this?
Oh, this is also, part of this propaganda. That is, the true story is, there is only, recently the Pakistani Foreign Office gave a statement about this.
Details.
Yeah, the details are available. You can check your website, of the Foreign Office. There are only less than 50 people. They have some, problems in Xinjiang. Basically, these are Chinese citizens. They are Chinese citizens married mostly to GB. So we have, for the Chinese embassy, we have checked with Xinjiang authorities. We found out that, more than half of these people, they have no problem. They are, they are living in Xinjiang. They are in Urumqi. They are in contact with their families, and only three people, they are sentenced into prison, and 4 people they are under investigation. All the other people there is no problem. So this is only Western propaganda. They speak better English. They can say anything on the social media. They are just bad-mouthing about China. Actually, in Xinjiang, there is, Xinjiang people, they enjoy economic development. They enjoy religious freedom. You can go to there and go to Xinjiang, and then you can have a look. This is an open invitation.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. इसके साथ प्रोग्राम का वक्त पूरा हो गया। ताहिर खान को इजाज़त दीजिए। अल्लाह हाफ़िज़। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। चीन पाकिस्तान इक़्तिसादी राहदारी यानी सीपेक, पाकिस्तान और चीन के दरमियान ताल्लुकात और अफ़ग़ानिस्तान के मसले के हल के लिए हालिया सिफारती कोशिशें हमारी गुफ्तगू का आज मौजू है। इस पे गुफ्तगू के लिए पाकिस्तान में चीन के कायम मुकाम सफ़ीर ली जिनजाओ हमारे साथ स्टूडियो में मौजूद हैं। आपका शुक्रिया आने का। First we will begin from some reports recently. Some Balochistan leaders, the government and also member of the Provincial Assembly, they have concern because they say the western route, everyone was talking before and even now they say that there is no western route in CPEC. And also they also say that the share of Balochistan, they don't know if it, and it is very less. So how would you respond to these concerns?
I think first of all on CPEC, we have agreed that under China-Pakistan economic corridor, it is open for the whole people of whole Pakistan. So these projects under CPEC are selected on the basis of the recommendations of the joint expert group, and then it was approved by the joint working group at the official level, and finally, this list of projects were approved by the joint cooperation committee, which is there's a three-tier mechanism. In both in all these three mechanisms, these provinces, they can give their input to the mechanism. They actually, at the JCC, usually, all the provinces, sometimes the chief minister.
But Balochistan is a key to this project. So, and because Gwadar and Balochistan, so my question was that if they have concerns, if they believe, you can disagree, I can disagree, but these were recent statements. So how would China, you people would respond to their concern?
Yeah, I am saying that under CPEC, we have this. We see this as a one corridor, multiple passages.
Okay.
So it's different routes. It's a eastern route, a central route, a western route. Is it is we are doing it at the same time, and for Balochistan, I think if you talk about the projects in Balochistan, first of all, the largest project is in Hub. The Chinese company is building a huge power plant, the size of Sahiwal power plant. It is the cost is about $2 billion US, and I think then we also have other projects like the East Bay Expressway. We have also Gwadar Port, Gwadar Free Zone. We are building a school there, and we are also working on upgrading the GDA hospital. We are building a vocational school, a vocational training center in Gwadar, and we are also building a new international airport in Gwadar.
Okay, so you talk about the East Expressway. We are hearing that there is a strike, a protest in Gwadar for the past 1 week, because the fishermen, they have concern that if this expressway is built, so their passages would be blocked. So they have concerns. So what is the solution? The fishermen, because there are 60,000 to 70,000 fishermen.
This is this East Bay Expressway. This project is agreed by the two governments. The land acquisition is the responsibility of the provincial government. So the provincial government needs to talk with the local people, to solve this problem. We want, to have good relationship, with these local people. So that's why we are trying to help with the local government to, to build this road. Basically, this why we are building this expressway is because in the past there is an old the old road. This is maybe like a GT road. Is passing the Gawada town. Is if you are transporting all these containers from the port to the Mehran Coastal Highway through the town, so it causes a lot of inconvenience for the people. So that's why we agreed to build this expressway. This is along the coast, so that if there is any goods, cargo, containers, it can be sent along the coast.
Okay.
To the Mehran Coastal Highway.
But if the fishermen,
yeah,
and the local fishermen, you are talking about the local people.
Yes.
So if we first go to the fishermen concerned that they will block if this road is built.
Yeah.
So how can
I think this is the responsibility of the local government. They need to talk to the local people to address their concerns, because
So these issues, you mean that the local people or the local authorities or the provincial government, they can deal this?
Yeah, of course. This land acquisition. If there is no land, how can we build an expressway along the route? So this land issue and this local people issue, they should be addressed by the local authorities.
Okay.
And only, with the support of this local people can we, build this expressway. Otherwise, what's the use of building an expressway over there?
Could you please tell me the jobs or job opportunities, recruitment of the local people, because in all projects, because we also we regularly hearing that local people also they think that they are deprived in employment or opportunities in all these CPEC projects.
Yeah, this is I think a very obvious issue. If a Chinese company comes to Pakistan to work on a project, the easiest way, for them is to hire the local people, to work on the project. It is more expensive, to hire Chinese workers from thousands of miles away, and you have to pay their ticket, you have to pay their accommodation, you have to take care of their security, and they are more expensive. So, on CPEC projects, as a whole, according to the statistics provided by our embassy, the CPEC projects have hired at least 75,000 local people. And this is number is still, increasing. And in Balochistan, also in Gawada, most of the workers they are from the local area.
And does the smart city in Gawada master plan, is it part of CPEC or not?
Oh yes, of course. Is one of the 22 projects which is under construction.
And the coal power plant, the 300 megawatt coal plant, so work has not yet started. So why the delay?
If you talk about this coal-fired power plant,
in Gawada,
this is a priority project. But unfortunately, in the last 5 years, it is not starting yet.
But why?
Yeah, there are many reasons. First of all, this to have a groundbreaking ceremony, you need to go through a lot of procedures. Number one, you need to have a feasibility study. And number two, you need to have a preliminary design, and then you have, this commercial contract. You have, then you arrange the financing of this project, and then you can have, this groundbreaking ceremony. For this coal-fired power plant, it took the Chinese company about 1 year to get an NOC to this environment, and then after there is the election, and this is an election year, and there is a political change. Recently, there is the land acquisition has been approved in principle, and after this, within 45 days, the Chinese company is supposed to sign this land lease with the provincial government. And also, there is another thing, the Chinese company applied for the tariff, which is, approved by NEPRA, but, NEPRA approved a very low tariff for this power plant. For other power plants, like Sahiwal, like Port Qasim, the approved tariff is about 8.3 US cents. But for this power plant, it's only approved something like the 6.5%, 6.5 cent. Then the Chinese company has to apply for a review of this tariff. If this 300 megawatts power plant is smaller than the Sahiwal one, the bigger the power plant is, the cheaper it is. So if it is only 300 megawatts, so this tariff should be higher, at least 10% higher than that Sahiwal tariff. But how can you build a power plant with only 6.5 cents? So they have to do this review. So if this review is done, then maybe there's we can expect.
But there is delay. But the power plant is important because you cannot do anything without power, right? Electricity. So this is the main thing. Okay, let's go to the general impression, the debate in the Pakistani media always that. People don't know it is a Chinese debt loan or it is investment on a CPEC. So what is the real thing? It is investment, it is a loan, because some people say Pakistan would not be able to repay the loan.
Yeah, I think there has been a lot of interest and debate on CPEC. This is a good thing. And I think, generally speaking, CPEC is received very well in Pakistan, and CPEC is an across-the-board national consensus here in Pakistan. There are many issues, political parties may disagree, but on CPEC, all the political parties are on the same page. In terms of loan or investment, I think, for under CPEC, we have different categories. For example, we always see the largest part of CPEC is this investment. And, we always see that we have the total amount of CPEC projects in the past 5 years, which is either completed or under construction, is 19 billion US dollars.
Okay.
So under this 19 billion US dollars, about 13 billion US dollars, they are FDI, they are investment projects. Mostly, they are in the energy sector.
Okay.
So these are investment. And this about the remaining 6 billion US dollars, is mostly they are G2G soft loans.
Okay.
So this is a loan, but they are provided by the Chinese government to the Pakistani government on very soft terms. For the commercial loans, you have to pay for about, the international practice is about 6%. In Pakistan,
And Chinese
is even much higher. Maybe is 10%.
Yes.
The Chinese government is providing this loan is around 2%. So this is a soft loan, and besides these two things, there are also some grant. For example, I mentioned this Gawada new international airport in Gawada. So this is a grant, which is about $260 million US. And we also, are trying to provide a grant, free assistance to build this Gawada school, Gawada hospital, Gawada vocational center, vocational training center, and other projects.
And when work will start on Gawada airport? Because we have been hearing since long, but I think
yes, yeah, because this between the two governments, we need to agree on the details of this international airport. For example, China, we are saying that we will build a new international airport for Pakistan. And then, our Pakistani friends have...
but why a delay in everything? Because 300 megawatt plant is not yet, no work started, airport, nothing is started. So why all these delays in everything almost?
No, that is not true. There is a very fast progress. As I mentioned to you now, 19 billion US dollars are on the ground.
No, but I'm asking about the airport, because
the airport is only one project, which is still in the pipeline. I mentioned to you this 19 billion US dollars. This doesn't include the airport.
Yes,
why?
Yes.
Because I'm talking about this 19 billion US dollars is those projects under construction.
Okay.
I explained to you that before a project is put on the ground, it goes a long way. First, you have this feasibility study. It takes 1 year. Then there is preliminary design.
Okay.
The design, you have to design, and then the cost of the price. It takes another year. In terms of this airport, because China said we would like to give you this as a free assistance, as a grant. So this our Pakistani friend says, okay, we want to have the best state-of-the-art airport. We want to land Airbus 380 at Gawada.
Okay.
Gawada is only a small town of 80,000 people. How can you use this Airbus 380?
Gawada is a very key to.
So we have to agree with all these details, and this takes a longer time than expected.
So let's go to security of CPEC, because security has always been one of the major issues. And if we look to the recent attack in Karachi on the consulate, and this year on the bus, the Chinese engineer in Balochistan, so are you satisfied with the special group for this security of CPEC?
In terms of security of Chinese projects and Chinese workers here in Pakistan, of course, this is the top priority of the Pakistani government, also the Chinese embassy. In terms of CPEC security, we are quite satisfied about this. I can let you know, that Pakistan maybe is the only country which established a special force, for protecting the CPEC. They call it the special security division. Is the SSD.
Yes.
It's about.
No, people know it, but I'm asking: are you satisfied that the security is enough for the projects?
Yeah, I'm saying this. For this, Pakistan is. They did something very special. They established this. SSD for protecting the CPEC projects. And this is about 15,000, soldiers. Besides this, in different provinces, they also established this special protection unit. They call it SPUs. The number could be 1,000 to 400. So they are also responsible for protecting, the Chinese project, CPEC projects. So in the past 5 years, there is a zero terrorist attack against the Chinese CPEC, against CPEC projects. There is a zero casualty on CPEC projects. What you mentioned about this attack on the Chinese consulate.
Chinese, because if an attack on Chinese, people will be having concerns.
Yes. For this security concerns, of course, we will continue to request the Pakistani government, to pay more attention to the security. And we are in constant communication with the Pakistani friends, so that we can provide a better security cover.
So we will have a short break. एक वक्फा लेते हैं, दोबारा हाजिर होंगे.